Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain. But you feel it. You feel it. Trying to free your mind.
So about a month ago on October 19th, the SEC voted to roll back the net neutrality rules that got abandoned back when Trump was president. So they have replaced net neutrality 1.0 with 2.0, and it is in the form of digital equity. It says this framework will establish a framework to facilitate equal access to broadband internet's access service by preventing digital discrimination of access to that service based on income level, race, ethnicity, color, religion, and national origin. So their goal, what their surface goal is that there are rules that would adopt the definition of a digital discrimination of access, adopt rules that prohibit digital discrimination of access, amend the commission's existing enforcement rules so that they specifically authorize investigations regarding digital discrimination of access, revise the commission's informal consumer complaint process to provide a designated pathway for accepting complaints of digital discrimination of access, and adopt model policies and best practices for the states, local, and tribal governments to support their efforts in combating digital discrimination of access. So this idea of digital discrimination is basically minorities don't have access to the internet, or poor neighborhoods don't have access to the internet as they should. So now the big good savior government is going to come in and help us poor minorities, help these poor people learn how to use the internet, give them more access to the internet so they can have equal footing with all of the super wealthy, well-to-do people that only have access to the internet, apparently. So that's just what they claim to be good on the surface. However, the big draw of this bill is if this bill passes, the FCC would have access to regulate not just companies, but their ability to have network upgrades, network maintenance, installation, speeds, data caps and throttling, latency, how much it costs, customer service, who talks to who, and service suspension. So the biggest thing to me is customer service and service suspension. I can only imagine you're just a regular person using the internet. You post something you dislike about the president or the vice president, and you try to call support, and they look at your internet profile and they see that you've been talking a little too spicy, or you've been posting too many spicy memes on 4chan. So they decide that they can't help resolve some of your issues, or because of your bad internet practices, they decide to go ahead and raise your rates a little bit. Or they just say, you know what? No more internet for you. We're just going to suspend your service altogether. Now, in some cases, it might seem like, well, there are a lot of bad actors on the internet, a lot of hackers and stuff like that that like to use the internet for nefarious purposes. So there could be some positivity to this, but this bill would put the FCC in charge of just about how all ISPs do businesses in America. They would be able to establish all types of rules and regulations on the free market of certain internet companies, and they would be able to dictate to you, the consumer, how much your service costs, where they put the internet, towers and locations of certain things, the expansion. Let's say you wanted to get faster speed. Let's say you're only running on a couple meg in your rural area. You want to be able to upgrade to 50 megs on your set on your farm or something like that. But because you voted a certain way, or you happen to post too many spicy memes, they decided to go ahead and take that tower down in your area. Uh, so long story short, this is you'd have poor prices. You have poor prices, poor service, and less privacy. And if they aren't already, ISPs will basically be another arm of the government. if there's one thing, if they can't control what people use on social media, they're just going to go straight for the source. You can't use social media and all types of other platforms without internet access. So they're just going straight for the source now, which is interesting. Now, unfortunately, this bill is already passed. So, not bill, but uh, vote has already passed. There were only about five commissioners that voted on this. One strongly opposed, Commissioner Brendan Carr. He said for the first time ever, those rules gives the federal government a roving mandate to micromanage nearly every aspect of how the internet functions. So now this amendment, this bill has gone through, this vote has passed, and it looks like they will start making sweeping changes of everyone's internet access in the name of digital equity, so ISPs don't discriminate against poor people and or minorities, because apparently minorities can't get access to the internet even though they have a computer in their pocket right now. So here's Vice President Kamala Harris's statement on this. Every person in America should be able to access affordable high-speed internet no matter where they live or how much they earn. When Joe Biden and I took office, 30 million people across our country did not have access to high-speed internet. Communities of color, Native communities, rural communities, and low-income households were disproportionately disconnected. Now, there are some rural areas that have limited internet access, but they still have internet access. Now, is it fiber optic? Is it a gigabit, 10 gigabit speed? No. Is that necessary to do what a lot of people do these days? Not really. Even streaming shows on Netflix don't require super fast speeds. I don't know if we need to spend $65 billion, have a $65 billion plan to lower the cost of monthly internet plans. People are getting fast enough speeds pinging the hotspot off their phones, but I think that this is more along the lines of we want to control how the access of information is spread. Obviously, we can't stop people from chatting on these apps and talking to each other directly, but if we can just cut off their access altogether, they won't be able to use it. But let me know in the comments what you think about this. Am I overreacting? Is this an actual thing? Can this really help? Can bring the FCC back in the internet really help things out? Or is this just a unlawful power grab like Commissioner Carr says? Let me know in the comments what you think about this. If you are watching this on Odyssey, Rumble, or YouTube, I appreciate it. Thank you and take care.